This is Heather Cooper of Playing with Paper Crafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Crafty Clues by Heather, short video tutorials on stamping techniques and tools. Today, I'm going to show you a really cute technique for tying great bows, like some of these. Let me just preface all this by saying I am the original klutz. The thought of having to tie a bow fills me with dread. But using these techniques and practicing a lot, it no longer phases me. Let me show you. Two common problems when doing bows is that you waste a lot of ribbon that isn't even seen when you have the ribbon going all the way around the back of your cardstock in order to tie a bow, like this. All this is wasted ribbon. And the other problem is that the cardstock isn't rigid, so not having a rigid base to work against can be difficult. So when you tie your ribbon around the cardstock and try to make it firm, it can bend or bow the cardstock, or if you don't keep it firm like that, then you can end up having a really droopy and loose ribbon. So let's say you wanted to add a bow to a card that is portrait style, like this, okay? And let's say you're going to tie it around a piece of cardstock that was 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches, which is a common top panel. Instead of tying it right around the cardstock, we're going to use one of our clear mount blocks that we use for mounting our clear mount stamps. Block C has just the right dimensions, as this block is 5 1/2 inches all the way around, which would give you ample, even a little bit extra, so that you can tuck it around the back of your card and adhere it to the card. Okay, so this time I'm going to show you how to tie just a simple square knot, which is really easy but attractive on cards. Okay, so I'm going to put the ribbon underneath, and I'm going to leave about 6 inches on either side, and I'm just going to trim it off that way. Okay, and I'll just move it up more to the middle so it's easier to see what I'm doing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the right-handed directions, and if you're left-handed, just switch sides. Okay, so I'm going to start with my left hand, pass it over the right ribbon, tuck it underneath, and tighten it like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take the ribbon that's in my right hand, tuck it over the left hand ribbon and underneath, and then tighten it up. Really easy to do. I learned that in guides, Girl Guides. There we go. So now you have tied your little knot, your little bow, and we're going to attach it now to the cardstock. So let's assume that we want it right in the middle of our cardstock. So I'm going to turn the clear mount block over, and I'm just going to cut right in the back like that. And now we can just attach it right to our cardstock. You can see we've got lots of room on either side to attach it. And we can use either snail or you can use glue dot. And then I can just firmly, but not too tight, attach it to the back of my cardstock. It's nice and taut, it's not going to go anywhere. And then I can give it a little trim to the length that I want it. I like to do it sort of opposite angles. And there you have a nice little square knot that gives a nice embellishment to any card, such as this one. Let's say you wanted to tie a full bow, like you see on this particular sample right here, okay? And you wanted to attach it to your card landscape format rather than portrait. Well, in that case, you would need a little bit larger base to do it on, so I'm going to use it on a D block, D Clearmount block, like this. Okay, and to do that, we take our ribbon. This time we can just keep it on the spool, which is nice because you're not going to waste as much ribbon. And I'm going to place it under the block. I'm going to give it a good, probably about 9 inches on either side, but I don't need to trim it. I just want to leave a tail that's long enough for me to get a proper bow. Okay, and then I bring up both sides, and at this point I'm going to pass the spool to the other side so that it doesn't get in the way. So now what I'm going to do is to bring it up, and again I'm going to start with my left over my right, tuck it under, and instead of having it out to the side, I'm just going to bring it the way it came, and I anchor it with my ring finger. Then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to make a loop away from me like this, and then I'm going to hold that with my thumb, and I'm also going to anchor it with my thumb so that I can use this hand now, and I'm going to wrap the bow around, the ribbon around, just like I was tying my shoes, and then I'm going to pull it tight, and there we go, and there you've got your bow. Now I know it doesn't look very pretty at this point, but the nice thing about these Clearmount blocks is that now you can play around with it, and you've got this solid base to help you out. So you can adjust the size a little bit, adjust the tightness of the bow so that it's not going to come apart easily. And I heard a knock at the door, and I think that's my UPS man with my stamping up orders, so that's pretty exciting. But I'm not going to leave you. I'll finish this off first. Okay, and then you can just trim this off. I'm going to leave it rather long just so that I've got options afterwards. And I'm just going to play around with my bow a little bit longer to get it the way I want it. I found, you know, that the difference between a good bow and a bad bow is how much you play around with it and get it just the way you like it. So it's never going to look gorgeous right from the start. You have to work with it a little bit. Okay. All right. Now let's say you didn't want to attach your bow right smack dab in the middle of your paper, of your card. Let's say you wanted to have it on the right side like this one is. In that case, you wouldn't cut the ribbon right in the center of the back. Rather, you would cut it close to the right side, so that you've only got a little bit on the side there to tuck around. All right, so I'm going to cut it right about there. Okay, and then again using my glue dots, I'm going to attach it to the cardstock like this, and then play with a little bit more and trim it. And then I just trimmed it, the edges, played with a little bit more, and there you have a nice looking bow to adorn your lovely creations that you make. Now, how do I remember which clear blocks to use? Well, let's use this as a little memory tool here. Okay, so we have C block with the portrait, D block with the landscape, and here's how I remember. C, the portrait. Hopefully that helps you. Now I hope this helps you with that dreaded task of tying bows, and I hope that you begin to use bows a little more often. Join me next week as I'm going to show you how to do two-step stamping using the Stamp-A-Majig tool. Please drop by my blog, Playing with Paper Crafting, for more card making samples and tips.